As a photographer, you probably have many lenses, and in this video, I'm going to tell you which one of my lenses is my favorite for portraiture. Hey guys, my name is Ben Lingle and welcome back to my channel. As I stated before, in this video, I'm telling you my favorite portrait lens, specifically in the Nikon lineup of lenses. So what is my favorite portrait lens? Well, it is the Nikon 85mm 1.4G lens. This lens is absolutely beautiful because it provides a wide aperture that will give you that great separation between your subject and the background. We call that bokeh. So when I use this lens, I mostly use it at that wide aperture. I typically never go above f2 unless I'm shooting a group or maybe shooting some telephoto landscape with it, although I don't do a lot of landscape photography. But anyway, this lens is really great for portraits, and that's why it's my favorite lens. Here it is, and it's kind of a heavy lens, I will say that. It's not the most light lens, maybe not the most portable lens because it's kind of big as well. But my thing is, it doesn't really matter to me. You've probably heard in my other videos that I like heavier lenses, and this lens is a perfect counterweight to my Nikon D750 or my Nikon D850. Now, I have used this lens for many different shoots, and of course, since I'm a portrait photographer, it's always in my bag. I'm always going to be using this lens because of that subject to background separation. The other interesting thing about this lens is that because it is semi-telephoto, what it will do is it will actually slightly pull the background forward as it keeps your subject in the same plane. So the only problem I see with using this lens is maybe group shots if you're trying to shoot shallow depth of field. You can shoot shallow depth of field with group shots, but you may want to be farther away from the group in order to kind of counterbalance the aperture with the compression ratio there. The more compression you have, the harder it is to keep things in focus, especially at those wider apertures. Now, I've used this lens for group shots, specifically family shots, and what I've done is oftentimes what I will do is actually I will take multiple images of the family or the group, and then I will stack those images together so I can have everyone in sharp focus but keep that background nice and blurry. Now, this lens is notorious for being called the cream master, creamalicious, bokehlicous, whatever you want to call it. And so this lens is absolutely stunning for any type of event you are going to be shooting at or any type of photo shoot. I've used it a lot on photo shoots, especially senior photo shoots, engagement photo shoots, and even at some weddings as well. This lens really just does a great job overall. The next thing I want to talk about is the compression, the bokeh, and the contrast of this lens. So the contrast and colors of this lens are so beautiful. It really adds a nice mute tone across the entire image, and when you go into post with a raw image, say from a Nikon D750 or a D850, you can do so much with the images that come out of this lens. You can pull the shadows up very well, you can dim the highlights, and while that does have to do more with your camera sensor, it really is important to have a good lens that does have a great amount of glass in it that can produce beautiful images. One of my favorite things I like about this lens is that I can keep my subject sharp but keep the background so out of focus. You've seen those signature photos before of photographers who have taken pictures of people, and the background, you can't even tell what it is. Maybe it's a cityscape, maybe it's just nature, but you can't really tell what it is. It's probably taken on a 1.4 lens. And since this adds compression along with the 1.4 aperture, it really does make for a beautiful, beautiful image once it's completed. On your screen now are some sample photos. You know, this lens just does an incredible job. I couldn't imagine it being out of my bag and not with me on a portrait photo shoot. I've taken this to weddings as well, and while I don't always use it at weddings that much because it's not really enough range for me, especially during a ceremony, I have used it for more close-up, more personal shots, say of the bride or some portraits of the bride and groom together. Something that this lens does very well is that it opens up the aperture, which provides a very nice natural vignette. Now, I know some people aren't really vignette type of people, but I am, if it's not too much. If it makes the image look too underexposed, then typically I'll try to refrain from that, using that lens. But I can say this lens adds just enough vignette that it just makes it look really beautiful once it's finished up. Now I've compared this to the Nikon 105 1.4e lens, and while I really enjoy this lens, I slightly like the 85 over it. And the reason is because even though it allows for me to get sharp images with a blurry background, the images aren't too tack sharp. They're just sharp enough, which adds a really nice softening of the skin for people who have maybe like a lot of acne or scarring, and you don't want them to do, you don't want to do too much work on them because then they look fake. So this lens does a really good job of naturally making soft images, but they're sharp enough that they don't look out of focus. The 105 is slightly sharper and does reduce more on chromatic aberration, but the thing is, the vignetting is terrible on that 105, and really, I just prefer the 85 much more. I do want to say one more thing. The 85 does have some more chromatic aberration, you heard that, but definitely it's very controlled. This lens comes in at around $1,600 brand new, and that's why you pay that much money for an 85 1.4. You may have seen like the Rokinon versions or Samyang versions that only are around $200 to $300. Well, while those lenses are relatively sharp, and I've actually been really impressed with the sharpness you get from those lenses, they have much more chromatic aberrations and all of that type of stuff, which even though you can fix it in post, I just prefer not having to if I don't have to. Guys, thanks for watching this video, and as always, you can check me out at Bilingual. We are doing something new. We're going to be releasing videos now Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of every week at 9 a.m. Central Time. So please stay tuned for that. That will start this Monday, and hopefully you guys are really enjoying my videos. I'm trying my best to produce content consistently and produce videos that you want to see. So guys, please give this video a like and a comment. Let me know what your favorite portrait lens is in the comment below. And as always, please subscribe to this channel where you will see more videos like this one. Guys, have a great day. Bilingual out.